Am I audible?
Yes, Siddharth, you're
Yeah.
audible.
Yeah. I have three questions. I have answered in the chat box. Anybody can answer the questions, but specifically, first question is, I understand that many of the participants here have some influence on school and educational institutions. So, as in the case of Bihar and Assam, the schools participated in DRR education. Can it be done in any other states? And how are the organizations, the social service organizations taking it?
Maybe there's any speakers can answer those questions based on your experience.
I would say
Sarabjit
told
Yes,
Singh,
about
yes.
Bihar.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you. Thank you, Siddharth, for the
sir.
question. Very relevant. And I would say that at least 2 or 3 states have taken at scale action for integration of, uh, or many states rather, I would say, have taken action for integration of DRR in the curriculum. But states such as Bihar has taken much sort of deeper action um, by including, or rather by initiating a scheme called Chief Minister's School Safety Program, which covers all the schools. So all the elementary schools particularly, and now they are also taking it up in the higher secondary schools. Similarly, state of Chhattisgarh has replicated the same. Jammu Kashmir is replicating the same. And one of the important aspects of this program is that Saturdays are sort of bagless days. Saturdays are also school safe Saturdays, they call them. So that's the day when they uh, children take leadership for building knowledge and skills on DRR. So that's what we know. How much action is happening? Uh, of course, there is variance across schools, um, but one thing we are very happy uh, that there are teachers who are taking leadership for this. There are principals who are taking leadership for this, and as well as children are taking leadership. There are from our own school safety program in Bihar, I can tell you that some of the children who have graduated out of the school have come back to the school to train the younger generation and the teachers. So I think that that's a good sign that intergenerational exchange is happening on school safety. Sorry, I'm speaking too much. I'll stop here.
I know, sir. Sir, you had mentioned about the natural disaster resilience infrastructure. Natural disaster resilience infrastructure. See the second question, sir, I mentioned about the natural
Then the
infrastructure.
second question. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, let someone else answer it.
second question was in the context of protecting natural disaster resilient infrastructure. Have social service organizations approached policymakers to act in this regard? Of course, the social service organization from the NGO side definitely it's not a standalone job, Siddharth. Of course, it is always going along with the government, especially the
Yeah,
policymakers,
yes, sir.
including if it is
Yes,
from the
sir.
ground level,
I'm asking.
from the
Yeah, I'm
panchayat level,
asking.
it is moving.
I'm asking about the approach. Have they be approach policymakers?
So the social service organized, you are asking
So,
about approach
yeah,
or
approach.
whether
Yes,
they are
yes.
approaching or not.
Yeah.
So anyone, any speakers wanted to answer about that? What kind of approach, or any uh, team members wanted to answer what kind of approach to social service organizations?
Actually,
Of course.
I can just intervene. One of the most important challenges which we are facing in most of these states in our country is the fact that the leadership in terms of ensuring that these aspects of disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation gets institutionalized is missing. So in such situations, what happens is that we are seeing that communities are facing disasters, and then they actually are not able to recover. And by the time the next seasonality of the repeat of the disaster actually happens, and we are seeing that in Assam, we are seeing that in Odisha, Bihar, West Bengal, Maharashtra, and many other states. So I think the challenge would be to primarily make sure that we have baseline information at the local panchayat level in terms of what are the vulnerable sections of the communities who need support and protection, in terms of alerts and early warnings, and also make sure that the people who are bedridden, people who are wheelchair bound, and the people who are actually suffering from organ transplants or uh, medical procedures like dialysis or chemotherapy or radiation, these kind of people would need support in disaster situations, and so the vulnerability of such people need to be protected. And similarly, the kind of concerns about the differential vulnerability among people. So if you have probably we are seeing the situations when we have weaker sections, and then within the weaker sections we may have actually in the households we may have some people who are either suffering from debilitating diseases or suffering from psychological disturbances or mental trauma and so on. So these are people who need support, and so the local communities need to be provided support in all kinds of ensuring that their livelihoods are supported, and government schemes, the benefit of government schemes reach those households. And so which means there is a lot of interaction needed between civil society organizations and elected representatives in the panchayats. And we have seen that Orissa is a good example where the old task force members have actually also participated in even political processes, and they have actually become people's popular leaders. So I think we need to also see some of these good practice examples in making sure that the needs of the people actually are understood by the decision makers and by the elected representatives. And the civil society organizations can actually take that forward.
Mr. Siddharth from Bhubaneswar, I think
Yes,
Professor Menon has answered to this.
yeah, answer
So
that.
thank you very
I have.
much. Maybe I will go to the next because there are other members also there raised.
Okay.
We'll give the opportunity to others also. Your third
Okay.
question is yes. I would like to know whether sources or organizations are leveraging media. Yes, we are leveraging the media for IEC activities.